I grew up in London, and when I was 12, I got a Viking Severn Valley bike, my very first proper racing bike, road bike. And I love cycling because I could get out in the countryside of Essex, near not so far from where I lived. Um, a few years later, when I was 17, I decided to have a big long holiday in the school summer holidays, and I put my bike on the train to Inverness. In those days, there were guards vans, but I couldn't afford the fare for me, so I hitchhiked up to Inverness, collected my bike, and set off. I cycled all round the northwest of Scotland, across to the east coast, and down the east coast of England, back to London. But the part of Scotland I really loved the most was the very northwest highlands in the northwest of Scotland, just north of Ullapool, where the Ascent Mountains are. And these mountains, they're all broken up, so I climbed up high up this hillside mountain, and took and wanted to take some photos, but I had no camera. And it almost felt like a lunar landscape up there, and you had these Sylvan and Canisp, and out at sea you had the summer isles. It was beautiful, but I had no camera. Anyway, I cycled back down the east coast of England, down to London. Then 2 years later I decided to go back again, but this time with a camera. So again I did the same. I put my bike on the train, hitchhiked up to Inverness and set off. The very first day I was doing fine, got about 60 miles, and near Invergordon, suddenly the whole sky went black. There were swarms of green fly. And it got worse and worse, and I was cycling virtually blindfold for about 3 miles. But that wasn't the worst of it, that once they'd gone, I got a bit further up, and then my pedal axle broke. So there am I on my first day of my holiday, stood by the side of the road. I can't cycle. I'm using my thumb, trying to hitchhike for the huge. Of course, in the 60s, there wasn't that many cars, especially like north in Scotland. So I did manage to get a lift in the end, and a very kind couple took me up the road a bit and stopped at a relative's who fed me, and then they took me further to a hostel where I would stay the next 3 or 4 days till the bike was mended. I then carried on round, took photos from that mountain. That last time I didn't have a camera, and then cycled back down, this time through Glasgow, Oban, Glasgow, the Lake District, North Wales, South Wales, and back to London. And in all that journey, I did 1,250 miles on the bike and spent £20. This was 1965, so hostels were a lot cheaper then. Now it's £20 a night. Then they were about 1 and 9pence in the old money, and I lived off oats, porridge oats, and pilchards were my staple diet of the time. More recently, my youngest daughter, who lived in Portugal, decided to get married, and when I was in my 60s, and because I am concerned about global warming, I decided to cycle there. I'd never cycled in Europe before, but I really enjoyed it, and I've been back 3 times now and cycled around Portugal, Spain and France.